Yeah. All right. Flow state.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Count you in?
Yeah.
Let's get it. Flow state at the flow toe. Let's get in 5, 4, 3.
Hey yo, this is for my flow state. Add it, yeah. Y'all know we back at it. Ain't it crazy how the mind works magic? We gon' show you the method behind the madness. 'Cause this is for my
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Flow State with yours truly, Harry Mack. I got my man Sam up in the makeshift flow station.
Man, we can find a flow station anywhere, you know? It's more of like the idea of it than
Yes.
the actual location.
I agree.
And this is my flow station today, bro.
This is the flow station. What are we calling this? This is the Flotel?
This is the flotel.
We in the Flotel room right now. One important point that I think is relevant right now is the fact that you should be able to at least attempt to access flow state no matter where you are. You know, if you can only meditate deeply when you're in a cave in the Himalayas, how deep is your meditation practice really? You know
I
what I'm
thought you were
saying?
just talking about like listening to the pod for a second there.
Oh, well, that too. You should be able to access flow state no matter where you are. But if you don't have Wi-Fi, you're certainly not going to be able to. Although you could download it, and I recommend that you do.
Dude, tell them where we're at. Why we're at the flotel.
Yes, we are at the Flotel because we are in Los Angeles. Why are we in Los Angeles? Well, by the way, for those who don't know, I mean, I used to be based in Los Angeles. So if you didn't catch the last episode or the one before last, then you might not know that I'm now based on the East Coast. After the Eaton Fire, we had to relocate. So I'm on the East Coast now. But we are back in LA for NBA All-Star Weekend, baby.
Yeah.
And it was an epic time, man. I was officially hired to perform at the NBA All-Star Game the way they did it this year. Actually, this was the first year they switched up the format. I was interested to learn.
Yeah, it was cool though.
It was really cool. Yeah. So they had this concept of like USA versus the world. So they had two teams of, US-based all-star players from the NBA, Stars and Stripes. And then they had a team called World, which was basically the international stars in the NBA. And they did like a round-robin tournament, 12-minute games. And so I got to perform between two of the games, which was incredible, man. Such a dope experience.
It was electric.
Yeah, it really was. I got to be on the court alongside D-Wade, alongside Ludacris, and alongside Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child. Yeah, it was just an epic time, man.
Crazy.
Really, really dope. They each threw me a word and cooked up a little freestyle. And we only had 4 minutes to make the whole thing pop.
It was wild though.
Yeah.
It was at the Clipper Stadium, the Intuit Dome, and it's like known as one of the more like, it's pretty new.
Right.
So it's got all the bells and whistles, like the lights on every chair.
Yeah.
It looked like a rager. They had pyro going.
Dude, I was unaware of the pyro, which just aligns perfectly with the theme. I never know there's going to be pyro.
You want to know sometimes.
Usually you do. What tour? Was that Odyssey tour in LA when they just like surprised us with
Yeah.
pyro?
Yeah, at one point, there was like two different surprises.
Pyro?
One of them was just like a falling like fountain of sparks.
Dude, it was insane. And then there were flames at the front of the stage, but like they didn't tell us they were going to do it. The staff was just like, yo, wait till Max sees this.
But it was so dope, man.
Yeah, no. All-Star Weekend was legendary all around. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy, like I've done so many freestyles in my life, obviously. And if I'm not recording them, then I'm probably practicing them in my studio at home. And, it's something that I've just been doing for so long that it is very much second nature to do a freestyle. And yet there are certain instances where you're put in these highly pressurized situations where, there's a strict time constraint. For example, we only have 4 minutes. You're going to be next to some legends, right? Some true legends across the board and in front of so many legendary people. That's the other thing that was crazy is the audience is the most star-studded audience by far that I've ever performed for.
It was crazy.
Yeah, the Obamas were there.
That leveled it up a little bit, to be honest. I'm like, dang, he's courtside.
Dude, now unclear if they were there for my performance, though. I'm not sure. They might have dipped before.
That was wild, though, man. Like, we were walking out of an elevator and just like Magic Johnson comes in.
Yeah, I dapped up Magic Johnson just casually in the hallway. Yeah, it was insane. But I was just saying, like, when you go into these highly pressurized situations where you have to nail it and you only have 4 minutes to do it, the nerves do come back around, man. Like, it's like, it was crazy. And I was a little nervous backstage. Like, I always get a little bit nervous before performing in front of a big audience, obviously. Even on tour, I get nervous backstage. No matter how long I've been doing this, the nerves are still there. I think it's a good thing. It's just a reminder that I care and I want to do a really great job. But but yeah, I had some nerves backstage. Anytime you're part of a big production too, there's so many moving pieces. There's like staff back there, like huge staff back there running around. So many people carrying you from place to place, and there's a little bit of a feeling of, you can kind of feel. I don't know if stress is the right word, but you can feel the intensity even in the people that you're working with, like your carriers that are moving you from place to place are like, Harry Mack, we're so excited. Are you ready? You know, there's just this feeling of like,
Yeah.
like, but, breathing through that, feeling pretty good. But dude, it was right like when I was walking through the tunnel out into that stadium, and all of a sudden it gets so loud. Like as we start coming out, the audience is just so loud. It's so big. And I'm like, oh shit, there's Fat Joe over there. Like, oh shit, there's 2 Chainz, oh shit, there's Spike Lee. Like just like looking around and being like, this is bananas. Then got out on the court, and it was so unexpected and so cool. D Wade like walked straight up to me with a big smile on his face, like super warm, and was just like, bro, I'm such a huge fan of you, man. I watch your videos. Like,
That's
I'm
crazy.
beyond excited to be a part of this. And I was like, are you serious, bro? What the hell? I had no clue. I just had assumed he didn't know who I was, which is, maybe I should be a little bit more optimistic. But it was just amazing, man. Like a compliment from somebody who I didn't even necessarily assume would know who I am at all. So
Doesn't
that was
hurt
really
that
cool.
situation too. It's like, okay, he's excited for this. He knows what's about to happen.
Yeah,
That's always kind of nice, I think.
definitely, especially like because sometimes I'm put in situations where it's prearranged. Like when I freestyled for Kendrick, it's like Kendrick didn't know that was going to happen. The radio station was like, hey, let's put these guys together and see what happens. So, he kind of has to watch me in that moment, and he has to, and
it's like one step to get past at first. It's like they have to see, okay, this is what's happening. And here we go.
Yeah. But in this case, it was cool that he came in knowing the deal and gave props. And Luda was super cool as well. Dapped it up, told him, big respect, man. Obviously a legend in the game, man, and somebody who's inspired me and inspired most of us as MCs in the game, I'm sure, if not all. So yeah, that was really dope, man. And they threw me the words, and we did the thing, and huge sigh of relief afterwards, always. And it's cool too, because like going in, like, I don't know what the words are gonna be, and it's funny, I've said this time and time again, like I'm always like, I'm not that much of a sports guy. I don't know if I can keep saying that, because now it's like, damn, NBA All-Star Weekend, do rap for the Yankees.
Just put it on the business card if we're at these. What up, Harry Mack? Not much of a sports guy, sorry.
Yeah. But again, I don't know if I can keep saying that. Rap for the Yankees, rap for, the thing we just did, and then rap for the Steelers, like lots of the SEC thing we did. It's like these sports things keep coming up, and I'm learning through these opportunities much more about, the players and the teams, which is really exciting. I've always been inspired by elite athletes, and listening to their interviews is something that always gets me fired up. So now just learning a little bit more about the sports and the people involved has been really exciting. But yeah, man, I forgot where I was going with that.
There was too many of those like sports legends in one place. Like you're talking about when you're looking up to athletes and like their discipline. And I know like what you take away from Kobe and all these things, like those were the guys that like they built the NBA, man. Like it was Oscar Robertson, it was Magic. Like we were saying, it was so dope, man.
Yeah. No, it was epic, man. It was epic.
You killed it too, man.
Thank you, bro. And yeah, that's what I was gonna say before, is like afterwards, the sigh of relief of like, going into such a sports environment and being like, damn, I hope and I don't know what the words are that they're gonna give me.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, what if they give me some nuanced shit and I have to be like, yo, what does that mean? And everyone in the stands is like, bro, for real?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the gamble of it every time. But that's also what makes it so exciting when we go into these environments. And I wouldn't have it any other way, man. I'm very much an adrenaline fueled performer, and so to go in and not know what you're going to get and not know what's going to happen and to have to build the plane in the air, that's what we do, man. That's what flow state's all about. That's what freestyling is all about, and that's the fun of it, and that's what I really love. So it was special, man.
I was happy for you, man. Something about that like arena environment, like when you said walking out of the tunnel, it's so like cinematic.
Yeah.
You just walk out that tunnel, it's like, okay, there's Barack Obama courtside. Like it was really dope, man.
No, it was legendary. And it was just so much love, man, which was so cool to see. Like, it's also crazy because sometimes I'm like, man, I never know who's hip to me and what I do, like within the industry. I'm saying, like, I don't know if 2 Chainz has ever watched a Harry Mack video, or if it has passed by his feed. I don't know if he paid attention to who is this or knows the name or anything like that. So it's kind of cool to just be like, well, at least in this venue on this day for these 4 minutes, these cats saw me do what I do.
Yeah.
You know, who knows if they're gonna remember me by name or anything like that. But still, just cool to be able to, you know, do what I do in front of such a star-studded audience of people who really do this at a high caliber. And you know, I think it's a good test too of my abilities to get inside those types of situations and, you know, really have to make it happen right then and there. So hell yeah.
I still get a little like mind blown sometimes when I remember. I know that you're gonna crush it, and obviously so do the organizers. But like, what a gamble! Like in those high, like when there's no gap for anything to go wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, well, this guy, he's actually gonna come out and like, he's gonna do that thing, and it's gonna go fine. But we have no idea how it's gonna go down.
Yeah.
And every other part of that night is pretty dialed to the second. So the trust that an event like that puts into you, like, that's respect right there.
No, it's true.
And I think like D-Wade, you know, he's a big fan. And I think there might be like some of this going back and forth with like, he knows you're putting in work as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you recognize that with him for the same reason he might with you. I mean, it's like this dude's, he's at practice.
100%.
Yeah, he's not
100%.
missing practice.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And it's true, man. I am grateful to these platforms for really allowing me to do what I do in an authentic way, because it is a risk for them. You know, like they don't know. They see my videos, but like you say, anything could happen. It really is live. I really am improvising. I'm making it up while I'm there. And the fact that they put that trust in me, because it is such a change of pace.
It's just not how those events work.
Yeah.
There's like no open room for that. Like, oh no, this the dude who's going right before the last game, he's winging it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's how like the guy up top would probably hear that. He's like, wait, what?
Yeah. And then at the same time, like, I think that's one of the reasons that I do really appreciate and am coming to appreciate in an even deeper sense basketball as a sport. And I guess this really applies to every sport, but especially basketball with the fast-paced nature of it, is in some ways what I do is kind of similar. Like coming to my show maybe is similar in a sense to going to watch like an NBA game, in the sense that like you understand the basic framing, like you understand the rules of the game. But within that frame, you have no idea what's going to happen. And it really is real time. And like the plays are being improvised. Like these guys are improvising collectively the same way a jazz ensemble is improvising collectively. You know, they're engaging in this dance together in real time, responding in real time, changing direction in real time, starting to go one way and then, nope, I'm actually going this way. So, you know, that makes me just really respect it to such a high level, because I do think there are actually more parallels there than I ever really thought about.
Yeah, man. Anytime it's like unpredictable for everyone.
Yeah.
It's cinema, you know.
100%.
It was awesome.
Yes. Shout out to D-Wade. Shout out to Ludacris. Shout out to Kelly Rowland, man. And shout out to everybody that was there watching. And we actually just posted the video today. This just happened last night. So we got the video out with the quickness. By the time this pod comes out, it will have been out for a while now. So shout out to everybody who watched it. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. And yeah, man, we're excited to be here in LA. And we in the Flotel, baby. We in the Flotel room. We can do this thing anywhere, man.
I'm down.
Yes. All right, so let's see. We're gonna do some moments of flow. You found a clip here for me to react to, yeah?
I got another clip, man. You know it.
Let's go.
Yeah, this one is John Cleese, who you might recognize. Like, I didn't recognize the name right away, and then as soon as I heard his voice, he was like one of the main dudes in Monty Python. And
sick.
like, he's just a legendary English actor, comedian, things like that. And I guess he always makes this. He made a lot of really awesome speeches at large, like creative, like award shows and stuff like that.
Nice.
And this is from one of those. And yeah, man, give it a listen.
Hell yeah. All right, let's check it out.
If you are going to be creative, you have to be in a state of play. You can't play if you're being careful. If you're trying not to make mistakes, it destroys creativity completely. Because if you have a new idea, you can't immediately say that's a mistake until you've explored it.
Wow. Yes. Dope clip. Thank you for that, man. And I 100% agree with what he's saying here. Freestyling and improvising in particular requires one to be in that state of childlike play. And I've said this before, one of the things that I love most about freestyling and doing this as a career now is the fact that it keeps me deeply in touch with my inner child. And I've often compared freestyling to finger painting. And the reason I like that comparison in particular, as opposed to just painting or drawing or any other creative endeavor, which of course you could make the parallels there as well. But finger painting to me is the best because it's something that little kids do, and it requires you to get messy, you know? And so you're just dipping your hands in the paint. You're not afraid. You have to be fearless in order to finger paint. And, you know, similar to what he's saying here, if you're afraid of making mistakes, you can't really access those deep, true levels of creativity. So I'm all about being in touch with the inner child, being in a childlike state of play, and not judging. And, you know, I think for me, like, the fact that freestyles and really any improvisational music, I mean, it was the same as when I was gigging as a jazz drummer and improvising, you know, with an ensemble on stage in a jazz context. You know, because it's happening in real time, you don't have the bandwidth or the luxury of time to stop and say like, is this what I should be playing, or should I be playing something better right now? You know, or like, is this really what I should say? Is this the proper direction? Let me consider 5 other directions. It's like, no, man, go, commit. You know, whatever's happening right now is what's happening right now. And that's all that we can work with. You know, that's the raw material. And I think that's really one of the reasons that freestyling in particular and improvising in general has been so addictive for me, is because left to my own devices, if I'm being honest, I do tend toward overthinking, you know, and I can just think about the opening line of a verse. If I'm sitting there with a blank page and a pen, I can think about the opening line for hours. I can think about the opening line for days. I can never start the verse, you know, and even if I write it and record it, I can listen back to it 1,000 times trying to decide if it's worthy of people hearing it or not. And so I think for all creatives, this is, or maybe not for all, but for a lot of creatives, this is probably at least somewhat relatable, and everybody has a different relationship with it. Some people struggle with it more than others. I struggle with it a lot. I'm very much a perfectionist. I'm very much an overthinker. And for years, that's what held me back from sharing my creativity to begin with, was just overthinking my way out of ever doing anything. You know, it was never good enough. I never knew if it was right. Out of a million options, how could I possibly choose one? You know, and so I always just defaulted to freestyling because freestyling felt like this warm hug or something. It just felt like this beautiful, free space where every take is the only take, and therefore every take is the final take. And I'm creating it right in front of you. And so it has to be the final version because it's being delivered to the audience at the very same moment that it's being composed. And so there's no going back. It can only go forward. And, you know, I think that is just, for me, it was almost a technique to allow myself to even be an artist and be heard. Because, you know, unless you're doing it strictly as a hobbyist, it's like Steve Jobs said something like that, real artists deliver, or real artists ship, or something like that. I can't remember exactly how he said it. But yeah, at the end of the day, you got to put it out, you know? So I'm just so grateful that I was able to build a career as an improviser because, you know, for me, improvisation feels like a safe space. And it's really one of the only ways that I can overcome the fear, which sounds crazy to some people because they're like,
man.
It's way
It's like
scarier.
the final boss of this.
Yeah. But that's just the thing, man. It's like, if I don't have the ultimate stakes, like if I don't have, like, you're walking through the tunnel out to Intuit Dome and you're going to be next to huge legendary celebrities and you have 4 minutes and you don't know what the words are and you have to make something great. If I don't have those stakes, I'll just overthink. So in a strange, maybe paradoxical to some way, it's incredibly focusing to just turn the stakes up so high so that the only option is to focus all of your energy and attention toward the thing. And I might have gotten a little off track. I'm sure that I did. I was in flow state, baby. But like, as a musician, I love that so much, you know? That's how I feel about creativity. You know, that's how I feel about music and art in general, is that it is play. And I just always loved, like, back in college, you know, hanging with musicians. Yo, man, we should get together and play sometime. Like, how cool is that, man? Like, as kids, it's always that. It's like, yo, you know, your parents set up a play date. You know, you get together with your friends and you play. sports, you play soccer, right? And similarly, you play music. And when I'm out there, whether it's, me on a random corner in New York City doing guerrilla bars, or me on the court at the NBA All-Star game, my job is to play. And if I forget that, and if I lose touch with that, then I'm not going to be able to freestyle at the highest possible level. The play and the willingness to take risks and the willingness to make mistakes, you have to have that at all times, or you're not really presenting the most authentic version of your creativity. And it's hard to get there sometimes. I think it's especially hard as adults. And I've mentioned before that I feel really grateful that I started playing music and learning about music when I was a tiny little kid. And I started freestyling when I was, 10 years old. And that is a big advantage, because at that age, you're so accustomed to play. Like, play is the main thing. You're not really that serious yet, because thankfully you don't have to be. You don't have to take on that much responsibility, hopefully. I should mention that there are some people that do have to actually take on an unfathomable level of responsibility at a young age, because they're born into insane environments that are painful and difficult. But for a lot of us, hopefully for most of us as kids, we are afforded the freedom of not having to manage a lot of complex responsibility, and therefore we're able to run and play. And so starting my musical journey at a young age, it was an advantage. I think a lot of times adults who are like, man, how do I get into freestyling? Like, every time I try to do it, like I just sound stupid. It's like, man, I did too, but I was 10 and I didn't even care. I didn't even think about it. Like, I wasn't like, wow, you sound stupid. I was like, nah, we're playing. When you're not running around at recess, imagining that there's aliens chasing you, being like, wow, we look dumb right now. You're like, this is sick.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
man. I think like just you have to take those risks to play as a creative, to grow in your craft too. Like,
yeah.
some of my favorite things I've done in video editing, it was weird.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's about having fun with it, man. You got to be able to have fun with it. And it can be hard too when it becomes your career. That can sometimes really kind of box you in, like I've dealt with that to varying degrees. And it's all basically conjured in my own mind. It's not like anybody is actually putting me in a box per se, but sometimes you can convince yourself that, well, like, now this is my job, and people are expecting a certain thing from me, and now I have to show up this certain way that they're expecting me to show up, and that's kind of at odds with the spirit of play, where you can just have fun and go left randomly just because you feel like it. So yeah, man, I'm all about cultivating the spirit of play. I do find that for me, making sure that I also that I don't only freestyle on camera, like, it can't all be for the content, and that is, the videos are in many ways my art. That's like my final deliverable. That's what I'm offering the world, are these videos for the most part. But yeah, I also got to spend time doing it just for the love, man, just for the sake of doing it. And that often is where I can really kind of develop and maintain the strength of that relationship with the inner child and that spirit of play. So
Nice.
Yeah. And also sometimes it's some of my illest freestyles, man, but the world will never hear. You'll never hear. No,
Damn.
But anyway, I love the clip, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's fire. Let's keep on rocking. We're going to get into some questions here, but we wanted to switch it up this week, man. Try something new. Just an idea I had that I thought would be fun, because there are a lot of incredible human beings working behind the scenes over here on the team, man. Part of Team Mack, holding it down. And I feel so lucky to have a team of people that I genuinely love being around. I genuinely love having conversations with these people. We are a virtual team by and large, so a lot of these people I'm not with in person very often. But I have been able to meet everybody on the team in person multiple times, which is beautiful. And I thought it would be cool to, feature some of the people who are working behind the scenes, allow you all as the audience to get to know some of these people that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily know about, because they're fantastic people. They work incredibly hard, and they are the reason that all of this happens. I could just be somewhere freestyling in a basement by myself, like I was just talking about, forever and ever and ever, if I didn't have these people helping me to edit the videos, to work on the audio, to design the thumbnails, to do all the things that are necessary to package this stuff and get it out to the people. And so every now and again, we're going to sprinkle in some questions from members of Team Mack. And for this first one, we have a question from my guy, Fadle. I should mention that Fadle is, well, first and foremost, he has the greatest smile of anybody I've ever met. I think we can agree on that, right?
Facts.
Greatest, warmest smile, kindest, one of the kindest people I have ever met. And the type of person where if the energy is low or veering negative in any way, shape, or form, if you insert a Fadle into the equation, the energy will make a full 180 and accelerate all the way to joy almost instantaneously. And he's such a great person, and he's somebody that I feel so grateful to know, and I'm so happy to have him here on the team. And he also is a phenomenal creator in his own right, and has a channel which you all should check out, which we'll link in the notes, youtube.com/@fads. And he does these incredible video essays.
So talented.
Yeah, and I have learned so much from his videos. And I'm sure you all will as well if you're not already familiar. But he's growing very fast on his own YouTube channel, so you might already be hip. But you may not have known that he was also editing videos for Team Mack. And he sent us a question. Should we run this?
Yeah, fire it up.
Let's get it. Here we go from Fadle.
Hi, I'm Fadle, and I edit the social media content that you guys see on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or any other social media platform. I've done it for a couple of years now, and every time I watch one of Harry's freestyles, I am still just as impressed as I was the day I first found him. But I did have a question. One thing I've noticed, Harry, is that you're really good at connecting with people, no matter how much background they have in the world of hip-hop and rap in general. And I'm always curious about the questions that you're asking yourself in real time to make sure that a rap can resonate with the audience. Do you consciously vary your flows and rhyme schemes and their complexity based on the audience's reaction? How do you know whether or not to swear or censor yourself in a bar? And how much can you even tell if a person is enjoying it in real time? I'm really curious about that aspect because the energy exchange has always been one of the most important parts, but I don't really know how it works in practice.
All right. Shout out my boy Fadle. Amazing question. And you can tell he's a great creator. Look at this setup, man. Look at this. This guy is not in the flotel, okay? This guy is really doing it. Awesome question. Yeah, the energy exchange is everything, man. That's the biggest piece. I always say that my freestyles are only as good as the energy that's being poured into them by the audience. And that applies on many levels, it's only as good as the suggestions that they're giving me. It's only as good as, the energy that I feel from them while I'm performing. And part of my job is to try to the best of my ability to conjure that positive energy from the audience. I consider it part of my job to pull that energy out of the audience. And that requires a high level of situational awareness, social awareness, I guess, would be the way to frame it. And I do think that it's such an important piece of what I do is having this level of social awareness so that I can relate positively to the audience, regardless who they are. And obviously, if you're approaching strangers on the street to do performances for them, I think that's really, really important. And this is an interesting question. You ask, like, what are the questions running through my mind when I'm trying to do that? Like, what's the mechanism? How does it actually work? And it is, I will admit, complicated. And I think a lot of it is happening kind of at this subconscious level. It's almost more of a feeling. It's less like there's a specific question in my mind. Should I swear right now? Should I not? Should I go to double time right now? Should I not? It's more like just this feeling. I don't know how else to put it. It's like a vibe. I think, social awareness is another one of those terms that we use where it's not a simple skill, it's a complex skill. And therefore, there's a big stack of micro skills that sort of all chunk up to become what is social awareness. So when you say, oh, that guy has really great social awareness, it's like you're really saying that they're picking up on people's body language in real time. They're noticing people's tone when they're saying something back to them. They're aware of how close or how far they are to somebody else. They're aware of maybe the age of the people that they're engaging with and what may or may not be appropriate to share based on that context. So a lot of this is kind of just like rapid firing in my brain, and I don't even really necessarily, I couldn't point to exactly what's happening. That being said, there are some things that stand out to me when I'm out there doing my thing that kind of help guide how I'm going to approach the freestyle. to try to best connect with the audience and pull that energy out of them. A really clear example that I'm sure a lot of you have picked up on when watching my freestyles, if I see what looks to me to be a family where maybe there's a dad holding like a 2-year-old and then there's another like 6-year-old and holding dad's hand down on the other side, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that's a family, you know? So when I see that, you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to try to do something that is, I guess, family friendly, right? And I wouldn't say that all of my content is family friendly by a long shot, but in that instance, I want to relate positively to the audience, and being as there's small kids there, I don't want to come in hot and be like, yo, I'm the baddest motherfucker in the game. I'm the shit. Y'all rappers are lame. You getting slain. I'm killing motherfuckers on the daily. Yo, I'm not trying to go full on in that bag, you know, where I'm really swearing aggressively. So there's this natural sort of instinct to just adjust the delivery and the types of vocabulary that I'm reaching for. And I think a lot of this comes down to this notion of freestyling and performing in general being a conversation with the audience. That's how I always have viewed what I do. Like, I'm engaged in a two-way conversation with the audience. And obviously that applies really directly with what I do, because people are actually, like, there is a conversation at the beginning of every video where I'm getting words from people and kind of explaining what I want to try to accomplish. And I need them to talk and respond. It's not like I'm just up there and they're just out there watching, right? But yeah, I view it as a conversation. So if I was approaching a family in general and wanted to engage with them in conversation, I wouldn't walk up to a family with little kids and be like, "What up, motherfuckers?" You know? And I don't think you would either, whoever you are watching at home, right? We all kind of know that. And so for me, the challenge is less knowing what's appropriate in any given situation, and more so training my freestyle ability to the point where I actually have the level of control that's required to make those adjustments in real time while freestyling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the hard part. It's not as hard for me, for whatever reason, to know that, okay, there's a family here. Again, I don't think this would be very hard for anybody. You know, it's not that hard to, and maybe I shouldn't say that. It might be challenging for some people, but most of us would know that if it's a family with young kids, you're not going to swear or say things that are really like grotesque or whatever. But censoring yourself while you're freestyling can be very hard. And anybody who's new to it and just getting started, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And especially when we were young, man, like the crutch words, you know, the words that you use just to fill in the blanks while you're trying to figure out what you're going to say next. It was often like, I don't give a fuck. I'm flowing off the top when it comes to freestyles, man. The Mack don't stop. I don't even give a fuck. I'm just, you know, that's a very common crutch phrase, you know, which is, a side note, actually a cool crutch phrase, because it probably helps you enter the frame of mind of not caring and being able to be in that childlike
I do
state
give
of
a
play.
fuck. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. It's like, I'm saying this to try to convince myself that I don't, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, that's one example. Another example of this, though, is, you know, in all of my freestyles, I try to incorporate the poetic devices that I think make rap one of the most beautiful art forms that has ever been created. So I'm always trying to incorporate wordplay, word flips, metaphors, similes, alliteration, you know, multisyllabic rhyming. I'm of course trying to incorporate these aspects of the craft that make it insanely beautiful and that have drawn me to it my whole life, right? And that all of our favorite rappers are masterful at. And so as I start to dish some of that out, you know, some of those more kind of elaborate word flips or metaphors, etc., my antennae are up, not really consciously, but it's happening. I'm scanning, I'm paying attention to the audience at all times. I'm trying to read their energy at all times. And sometimes you'll notice when you do more of an intricate bar, you can kind of in real time sort out who maybe doesn't necessarily listen to hip hop in their free time, might not be the hugest hip hop head or even really listen to it at all, from the people who really do listen to hip hop and understand the nuances and the intricacies that make it beautiful, right? Because when you do an elaborate bar or some kind of wordplay that might go over a lot of people's heads, there's often, or there might be somebody in the audience that goes full stank face, ooh, you know, or says like, oh, bars, you know, stuff like that, like what we do in ciphers when somebody's really killing it. And so immediately I'll notice that and say, oh, okay, this person or these people can really appreciate the nuance and the intricacy And so that's, to me, a signal. It's like, I can lean into this aspect of it, which
and that
like,
spreads to the people next to them. They're kind of like your partner there a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because it's contagious. You know, it's contagious. And it's fun too, because then for me, it's like I'm a kid in a candy shop. You know, I really get to play. You know, there's that word play again, but I really get to play in the way that I love to play. You know, wordplay, literally. You know, there again, it has that word play embedded into it, and that's fun. And what I love too is the sort of juxtaposition of those two worlds. Just as two examples, you know, there's other signs and energies that I'm picking up on in real time. These are just kind of two examples that are easy to sort of explain and point to. But, you know, if you have some deep hip hop heads over here who really have listened to the canon of rap and will appreciate the wordplay, and then you have the family over here that maybe doesn't, you know, and there's some young kids, you know, and when you put those together, I just love the challenge of kind of pulling together people from all different walks of life with all different frames of reference and trying to find that commonality, because in my experience, there always is. There's this mix. There's this balance that we can achieve where everyone kind of starts to feel like they're all part of one whole, you know, one collective energy. And, you know, playing with that is really fun for me. It's kind of like the crossfader for the DJ, you know, for those who don't know, it's like the crossfader is how you control which of the two turntables is being heard at any one time. So if it's all the way left, you only hear the left turntable. All the way right, you only hear the right turntable. If it's dead center, you hear 50% of each. And as you slide further left, you get more of the left turntable and less of the right. So it's like a volume that is, you know, inverted and crossfading between two different sound sources. And sometimes I feel like that's what's happening when I'm freestyling in this situation. You got the deep hip hop heads over here. You got the family over here. You got the like real chill dude that looks like he might have just smoked a joint that wants to laugh, you know, he wants a comedy show.
He's loving this, or if he's confused, but he's locked in.
Yeah. And so he might be waiting for something humorous, you know, and it's like, okay. And I'm just like kind of moving this crossfader, finding this balance where it's like, I can pull you in this way and I can pull you in this way and I can pull you in this way, but let me see if I can pull us all in, and make us all kind of get on the same wavelength. So, yeah, I mean, to me, that is a huge part of the craft. And this actually speaks to what we were talking about in the last episode about whether you're an entertainer or an artist or a craftsperson. I think this is really the entertainer in me. But interestingly, I think it's also the craftsman, and I think it's also the artist. There's an art to finding that common thread, you know, with like a diverse crowd and figuring out how you can make everybody feel like they're part of it and positively relate to everyone. And I think, you know, I've always been somebody who appreciates lots of different dimensions of hip hop and rap and music and art, you know. So I of course appreciate like the most complex, intricate lyricism, but I also really appreciate the beauty of simplicity, you know. And so I think that plays into this as well, you know, depending on the makeup of the audience and also just depending on the size of the audience and even the acoustics of the space you're in. Sometimes if you try to get too intricate, like maybe if I'm rapping too fast or if it's too dense with too many syllables just crammed in, you might lose people.
Go back and forth on the mixer as much as you could.
Yeah, or just if it's like tearing it up when I'm blaring this stuff and they were aware that, you know, it's like people might be like, what's he saying right now? And that can be cool for a moment and that might appeal to some people, but then sometimes shifting back into the beautiful simplicity of just saying something that connects and is easy to understand. Shout out to my guy that's rocking the blue sweatshirt. Oh, everyone sees it. You know, that can sometimes be the most powerful way to bring everybody together. So it's a constant challenge, and it's a challenge that I love to embrace. And, you know, I'm always trying to get better at connecting with any audience, anytime, anywhere. Because I think that's the beautiful thing about being creative, and the beautiful thing about making art and performing for audiences is, you know, it's an opportunity where, you know, regardless of if everybody would actually agree in conversation, we can all agree in this moment that there's a special human connection happening and we can all kind of get on the same wavelength, even if it's just momentary.
I love it, man.
Hell yeah. Shout out to my boy Fadle. Make sure you go, everybody that's watching this, go subscribe right now. We have the link in the show notes. Subscribe, youtube.com/@FADS. Support my man. Get in early because this guy's about to be huge and we love him so much. Thank you, Fadle, for your question and for everything you do.
Thanks, Fadle.
Hell yeah. Should we hop into some fan questions here?
Yeah. I've been kind of mixing up a little bit. I grabbed like YouTube community and a little Patreon a couple weeks ago. This time I kind of just dug into some random YouTube videos of yours.
Let's go, dude.
Just pulled some random questions that I could find. And yeah, man, let's check them out.
Hell yeah. Super excited for this. First question comes from Tom Impala. I love that name. The question is, how do you feel coming back to the pod after everything that's happened? Oh, man, I feel so excited, so happy to be back. It was really, and for those who don't know, we took a break from the podcast because of the Eaton fire. I lost my home in the fire. I had to move out of LA, so I wasn't able to use the same studio space. And there was just so much going on at that time. I had to get ready for tour, et cetera, et cetera. So I wasn't able to continue doing this podcast. And that was one of the kind of most painful losses to me from a creative standpoint. Like, obviously I lost the home and everything in it. That was a huge material loss. But as a creator, man, not being able to do this podcast, it was whack, dude. It really was not fun at all. This had become such a great creative outlet for me and something that I just came to love so much. We obviously got to have so many incredible guests on the pod, and we are excited to get back to that as soon as we can. But yeah, I mean, it was also just such an opportunity to feel as though I was able to connect more deeply with this audience. You know, I talk about connecting with the audience in real time while we're performing or doing Gorilla Bars or Omegle or whatever it is. But I also feel as though this podcast is such a cool opportunity to hear from you all in answering these questions and seeing the comments that come in. You know, it's a smaller segment of core fans that are tapping in and showing up for Flow State. And I appreciate you guys so much. And it's cool to be building this almost like this smaller community within the community, if you will. And of course, we want to see this grow, and shout out to everybody that's sharing it with their friends and family members who might appreciate the content that we talk about on the pod. But it is cool that, you know, as opposed to the viral freestyles that I do that cross over to the whole audience and other people outside of the audience, this really does feel like a more intimate group of core people that are here, you know, listening to me talk for an hour and a half. And that's special, man. I don't take that for granted. That's unbelievable that anybody is, I mean, it's still, I'm not just saying this, it still is unbelievable to me that anybody would want to sit and just listen to me share my thoughts for an hour and a half, even one time, you know, let alone episode after episode. And so, yeah, I appreciate you guys so much, man. I'm so happy to be back doing this.
Dude, and so many people stuck around. They were right there back when we came back. And I mean, that says a lot, man.
Hell yeah. Shout out to the whole squad, man. Much love. Thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you, Tom Impala, for the question.
I wonder if he's a Tame Impala fan.
I think he has to be, right?
Yeah. Or they might have beef. I'm not sure.
They might. Or his first name is just Tom and his last name is Impala.
Nah, that can't be it.
Fair enough. Okay, this next question comes from, perhaps it's Beam Omar. Hopefully that's correct. Let me know. The question is, how often do you surprise yourself mid-freestyle, whether from landing high-level bars or finding yourself in emotional moments? Fantastic question. There are many times when I surprise myself in the middle of a freestyle. And I always am kind of hoping to surprise myself, because if I surprise myself, that means that I'm kind of hitting that flow state, right? Like that means that I'm hitting that next level where it's not just the vocabulary that is in my wheelhouse that I'm very comfortable with, that is kind of easy for me to access in the moment. It's like, oh, wow, like I stepped outside of my comfort zone. I stepped outside of what's familiar, and something emerged, and I didn't even see it coming, you know? And so I've surprised myself. And there are lots of times where that happens. One thing that comes to mind for me when I was on the Fire in the Booth with Charlie Slaw out in the UK. Shout out to Charlie, obviously, and shout out to Fire in the Booth platform. And much love to everybody that's watched that and been supporting it. The comments on that are crazy. But that was an awesome experience overall. And there was this one moment where it's kind of like the standout moment from the video. So if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. But he threw me this package of like hair dye for like dudes that are going gray, which is hilarious. Because that's me. But I don't dye it, man, because I got the grays in my beard for the wisdom. But anyway, no, it was hilarious. And he threw me the box. And so I just turned it to the side. And there's this thing that I sometimes do if I'm feeling it and if the opportunity arises, where I just start reading really dense text with no idea how it's going to work as a rhyme, you know? And that's what I did in that moment. I just started reading like the disclaimers or like the directions on the side for how to utilize the product or what the ingredients are. I can't even remember. And I just start reading, and then I'm just like in the back of my head, like, okay, make it rhyme here, make it rhyme here, make it rhyme here. So it's not like I'm reading it verbatim. It doesn't coincidentally rhyme. That would be insane if it did. But it's like I'm having to insert little rhyming words that still make sense with the syntax of what really is there. And so that's an example of a time when I'm just surprising myself the whole time. It's like off the rails. It's like, all right, dude, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. Let's see what happens. And then, it's so cool to me that is the standout moment of the video, which just goes to show, like we were talking about with the clip we reacted to earlier, you have to be willing to make mistakes. You have to be willing to take big risks, take big swings, because if you don't, you're not going to have the opportunity to have these awesome moments where even you are surprised by what's coming out.
It just doesn't make sense, man. I watched that just recently.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite freestyles of yours, by the way.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Goes hard all the way through.
Hell
But
yeah.
that part, I mean, every time I see it, I'm like, I don't pick up a new piece of the puzzle. I'm like, how does he finish the sentence? Is he skipping like one syllable of one word? Like,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous, man.
And I don't know, man. Like, I don't even know exactly how. I mean, I loosely understand how it works, but it also is just being sorted in real time, which is so fun. And then another example of like me surprising myself when we go on tour. There's a part of the show. Shout out to everybody that's come out to see me on tour, by the way. Much love. I super appreciate it. It's my favorite thing to do in the world is get out on that stage and do my show. And there's a segment of the show where basically I'm creating this extended narrative, like a storytelling piece. And so I'll have somebody give me like a character, and then another person gives me an environment, and then another person gives me like a dilemma, like the conflict of the story, essentially. And then I'm creating this story live. And it's funny because every time, like when I'm talking right before we drop the beat and get into it, I'm like, yo, this is my favorite part of the show because this is the one part where I can say with the utmost sincerity that I have absolutely no clue how I'm going to pull it off. And then I say, but we've done it now over 100 times and somehow it usually works out. So I think we should be good. And it's not just a bit. Like I don't just say that because it sounds good. It's true. Like I actually don't ever know what is going to happen. And I can tell you this much, I don't come up with the story before the beat drops or like during the intro 8 bars before I start rapping. All I do during the intro 8 bars is try to maybe come up with some semblance of how I'm going to do the hook. And the hook is like, the chorus incorporates all 3 of those elements usually. So I might be sorting that out. Like, okay, how am I going to put this together? And then the beat drops and I'm like, okay, at least I have the hook. But I don't have any idea what the actual story is. So I'm rapping, I'm freestyling while coming up with the narrative and trying to have some sort of like interesting story emerge. But I literally have no clue how it's going to go.
And it's never 3 easy things. Like the 3 people aren't allowed to change, like based on, it's completely random stuff.
Yeah, it's really wild.
We're going to Dubai. I am no longer Harry Mack. I'm a dolphin, and I'm facing a real serious problem, dude. I got a sword in my organ, man. Multiple swords in a singular organ. Can you believe it? It was a precise swordsman.
That's an example of like, I am always surprised. Like every single time we do that, the whole thing is a surprise. And it's just like, it's such a fun example of that childlike play of just like making a decision in real time of being like, all right, and then the guy gets stabbed, That's what's like, now I'm getting stabbed.
It's like, it's almost like you're getting excited if you're about to land the plane and you're like figuring it out the same way that the crowd is.
Yeah.
You're like, oh God, like I think I figured out like the way out on this. And everyone's like, how did that work?
Yeah.
You're right in it with the crowd in a way there.
Yes, dude. Yes. We had a crazy one in Florida this past tour that I just remember I was like shaking as it was coming together because I was like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is happening. And that's so cool. Like, that's that whole thing that artists talk about of like, I didn't even write the song. I'm just a channel. Like, that's kind of my version of that, I feel like. I'm just like so excited to be experiencing this thing coming together somehow. And it just goes to my whole philosophy of just practicing technique so that you can just completely forget about technique and just become a channel and let this stuff come through you and just let it unfold in real time. Because obviously, if I had not spent so many thousands of hours practicing the actual mechanics of freestyling, there'd just be no shot. There'd be no opportunity for these stories to emerge and to unfold.
The imagination goes crazy with that segment, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rhyming, but like, how are you connecting like a dolphin with swords in its organ flying to Dubai? And like we're all like leaning into this story somehow.
Yeah. It's really it's insane. And I have the best community in the world, as I always say. That's you guys. And I have the best audiences in the world who afford me the, creative space to do just the wildest shit.
That segment specifically will create like when we have like 1,200 people, 2,000 people yelling out one of the most random like phrases.
Yeah.
Got a problem, I need some support and I got hands off.
Sometimes I'm like, who's making them do this?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, why did I sign up for this, dude? Like, but only in those like 8 bars before the drums come in when I have to start rapping. Once I start rapping, there is no thought of
It's super fun.
yeah, it's just all gas, man.
What we got? God damn, Atlanta, make some fucking noise.
Great question, Beam Omar. I appreciate it. Here's to many more unexpected surprises mid-freestyle.
Cheers.
Let's see what we got. Mav Dillon, I believe is what is here. Is this a flip on Mad Villain?
Feels like it.
I hope so. The spelling would suggest that it is. When is the next tour in Europe? Man, I'm so happy that you asked. The next tour in Europe is happening this summer, baby. I don't have my sound effects in the Flotel. Thank you. I do have my sound effects in the Flotel. I told you we could do this anywhere. Yeah, I'm coming back to Europe, man, this summer, 2026. We're going to be out there. A few festivals, a few headlining shows. I'll be in Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Austria, and Norway. 2 shows in Germany. And just, I'm incredibly excited to get out there. That's this July 4th through July 16th. I will be out in Europe, rocking the place, man. And yeah, I'm beyond thrilled.
I can't wait.
Yeah, hope to see you guys out there. Tickets are available now. harrymackofficial.com/shows. That's where you get your tickets. And come out, man. Like I said, it's my favorite thing in the world to be able to go on these stages and perform for people. I can't do it without y'all, so I never take it for granted, and I cannot wait to see some of y'all.
Some of those locations have been some of our like rowdiest shows too. The fans are really dope out there.
Ooh, yeah, Netherlands goes hard every time.
Good show to pull up to.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. All right, let's take maybe just 1 or 2 more here. Let's see. We got James Fish Music asking, what are the differences between music as a hobby and as a career? This is a great question. If it's a career, you get paid. Next question. No, I'm just kidding. No, this is a really good question. And it's so funny too, because I guess in many cases it starts as a hobby and then it evolves into a career. I never viewed it as a hobby though. I really just felt deeply connected to music basically from day one. And obviously I don't remember day one, but for as long as I can remember, I just felt like I almost felt like I was a musician before I even played any music. If that makes sense, it's kind of weird. And who knows, maybe I'm rewriting history. Like, again, I mean, memory is not that reliable, but I have always identified as a musician and a music person. And even before I even knew what that concept was, I just loved music more than anything. And it just captured my attention and it captured my heart, captured my spirit, whatever that is and whatever that means. And it was just always the thing. So
like it wasn't spawned from I really want to do like that stadium or get that deal. It was just like, this is just going to always be happening.
It was like, play the fucking Howlin' Wolf tape again.
Yeah.
Dad, when I'm 2,
yeah.
3, play the Howlin' Wolf tape again. And just crawling to the speaker and like touching the speaker and like shaking in the living room when I heard Muddy Waters, and just like, yeah, it was like 7 or even younger, 4 or 5 years old, like my tiny foot pressing the bass drum pedal down and feeling boom vibrate my body and just being like, yes, more. Yeah, I just always was like, yo, this is the thing, man. And I don't know what in my, genetic makeup or, what I don't know what it is that makes it that way. Like if I'm just sonically, maybe I'm like sensitive to sonic input or something like that. I have no clue. But I always just felt music in a super deep way. And I always felt like I had this electric rhythm inside of me. I've talked about that on the podcast before. I don't know how else to call it, but just I have to get the rhythm out, And I feel like in many ways, like the first few years of my life were probably me trying to find the outlet for this thing that I felt. It's like the feeling was in me and it had to come out, And so that's, I think, why I became so obsessed with music and with the drums and even with the violin, and these were my access points to like, oh, okay, finally, like I can get this thing out.
Like if you didn't drum for a while, just like you gotta got to find a drum kit eventually, or it's just like tension and stress?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah.
It's interesting because that's like not even a hobby or a career, really.
Yeah, it's like a health thing. I do actually, and I do think that practice, once I learned about practice, and I resisted practice, for a long time. Like when I was 7 and my dad was like, we bought you this violin and we signed you up for violin lessons, so you're going to practice this thing. I would be like, throwing a tantrum. So I resisted practice, as many young musicians do. But once I came to appreciate and enjoy practice, which came probably when I was like 10 and when I was getting into the drums, it stopped feeling like a chore and it started feeling like just something that I really wanted to do. I was excited to get home to play my drums. I was excited to go over to Brady's house after school to freestyle and rap. That's when I started to develop a deep love for practicing. And so now I really do feel like, we're joking about it. It's like it's actually like a necessary component of my holistic health plan. I really do feel like if I'm not practicing for an extended period of time, it starts to get a little wonky, with my mental health, I'm saying. And so having like a consistent practice, a practice. I was thinking like how you say a meditation practice, but yeah, having a practice, I think is really important for me, man. I think it's really grounding for me, and it really helps me just feel a deeper sense of happiness and joy as I go through my day. But that's enough about me. Let me bring it back to this question of the difference between music as a hobby and music as a career. I kind of think that Stephen Pressfield has a good take on this. He's the author of this book called The War of Art, as well as a bunch of other books. But War of Art is a classic. It's a flip on The Art of War by Sun Tzu. But this is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And he talks about, going pro and what it means to go pro. And his thing is you go pro the moment you decide to show up every day and do the thing, regardless of how you feel about it. That's when you go pro. When you're a hobbyist or an amateur or whatever you want to call it, you have the luxury of just creating music when you feel like it, right? When you feel inspired, like, oh, today I want to write a song. Like, let me try that. And that's beautiful, by the way. So this is not in any way, shape, or form a judgment of one versus the other. It's just a way of defining the difference between the two. And I think it's a good way of defining the difference. It resonates with me a lot anyway. When you go pro, you no longer have the luxury of saying, oh, well, I don't feel like doing it today, so I'm just not going to. The professional just shows up regardless. And he's the book is like a cold slap in the face, or like a splash of water to the face for the for the creative, because I think for a lot of creative people, like it's hard to develop consistent routines, just speaking for myself, I know that's difficult for me. I love freestyling. I don't necessarily love calendars. Google Calendar is a scary place for me. When I look at it, my head starts spinning. I'm not like a super list-oriented type of person at all. And shout out to my beautiful wife, who I love very much. Without her, I don't think I'd ever make it to any gig on time or at all. So yeah, we all have our strengths. But yeah, I think doing it as a career means you show up and you do it regardless of how you feel. You're no longer waiting for inspiration. And I think it's important for the professional to acknowledge that if you wait for inspiration, it might never come. And I don't actually think that waiting for inspiration is a good strategy at all, because I think inspiration isn't something that comes to you out of the blue. It's something that you cultivate. And I think the way that you cultivate inspiration is by showing up every day and making space and making time to do the thing. And, that can be really painful at first, because you might make some things that you don't think are very good. In fact, you might make some things that you think are bad. But this all ties back to that first clip that we watched, where if you don't give yourself permission to make things that are bad, you'll never have the opportunity to make things that are great, right? And so I think the professional has to keep that in mind at all times, that, they're not in control of whether the art is good or bad. The only thing that you're in control of is showing up and creating this space for the muse to appear, if she chooses to appear. And she might not. But regardless, the professional is going to be there cranking the shit out, or hopefully in a blissful state of flow, just making one of the best things that they've ever made. And it'll be a mix of both. But I think that's really the difference, is just showing up consistently and doing it regardless of how you feel about it. And again, I think both are really beautiful. And the really beautiful thing about being a hobbyist and making music for fun, just as a hobby, is you don't necessarily even have to share it if you don't want to, or you can share it. You can like give it to your family members as gifts. You can do whatever you want with it. But it's just wide open. And
That's where I'm at.
I think that, dude, I fucking love that.
I don't get to do it too often. Like it comes and goes. But yeah, getting on the mic and just like messing with beats and messing in Ableton, that's like definitely that nightcap at the end of the night. And
Hell yeah.
because I don't intend to put it out really or care to, I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's no one holding me to a style, not even myself. Everything comes out differently.
Yeah.
And yeah, most of it's nonsense, but it's cathartic as hell.
Absolutely, bro. And I think I would say too that keeping as much of that energy as possible, even when you are doing it as a professional and as a career, is really important. You know,
it has to get harder though.
Yeah, it does. And you don't want to become so rigid that now you lose touch with that spirit that you're talking about. Because I wasn't listening to Howlin' Wolf being like, I need to listen to this so I can study it, so I can learn from it, so I can contextualize it. No, I just loved it, And even when I was coming home and practicing my drums, it wasn't even, I mean, there was an element of like, I'm going to kill the lesson this week and my teacher is going to be so stoked.
You enjoyed progression, like getting better. That's fun.
For sure. That was part of it, but it was also just like, I loved playing the video game, if you will, as a metaphor, It's not just to get to the next level. It's like playing the video game is the whole point. Like, So yeah, it was a mix of both. But
even me sometimes I'm just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Because I think that there is just such an expectation where like, yeah, if I do start to show some friends stuff, they're like, oh, so you're going to like be putting it out now? And I'm like, honestly, like, I don't even think about that. Like, probably not. But then also it's like, what am I don't know. It really is just like a stress relieving thing, I guess.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. And in some cases, and trying to figure out if you are going to put it out or what you're going to do with it, in some cases might tarnish the experience of doing it.
Yeah.
In which case you'd be better off not.
I just have no idea whatever is going to happen on the mic. It's weird to not know your own sound.
Yeah.
So it's like when I'm picking like an instrumental or something, like I literally don't even know my own like style or something, and everything sounds different. It's finger painting, man.
I love it, bro. Finger painting, staying in touch with the inner child. It's beautiful.
And then I get to watch you have the career.
Oh yeah, man. I'm honored to serve that role.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you, James Fish Music, for this question. I appreciate it. I think that'll do it for questions this time around, but shout out to everybody who poses these questions. These ones came from the comment section. So, hey, you never know. You might just ask a question in a random comment section on a random Mack video, and I might answer it on this podcast, and you might never see it, but hopefully you do. But no, I really appreciate everybody being thoughtful and asking their questions. And we do also love to respond to video questions, as you know. Luckily with Team Mack, I can really ask people to like, oh, send in a video. So shout out to Fadle. But you could do that as well. You could just record yourself. It doesn't have to look professional like my boy Fadle, but it could just be on your iPhone or whatever is convenient. Send that in, or audio. You could just record a note on your phone, send it to us, harrymackofficial.com/flowstatepod. And that is also where any aspiring freestyler, professional freestyler of any level can submit a video of them kicking a freestyle for me to react to. That's what we're going to get into next. And you should know there is a fresh batch of beats available. We had everybody rocking over the same few beats for a long, long time. And it was time to switch it up. So shout out to my boy Iconic, who pulled some new beats in. We got a new batch for you to check out. And I want to hear from you, man. I love the fact that there's this growing community of freestylers around the world. I think there are so many people who engage in freestyle for the play aspect of it, for the fun, as hobbyists, and some as hobbyists, amateurs that, like my man Sam over here, are open to seeing it potentially evolve into something more. And I just think it's beautiful to see that and to tap in with the community. So we're going to react to a freestyle right now. This one comes in from Nate C.
Nate C.
Let's run it.
Listen, let me know if you can hear him. Cause I'm standing within. Hopefully you can hear as I'm rapping in the mirror. Off the brain I think. Feel like I'm about to drain it right into the sink. Yeah, I gotta do it and I need no applause. Yo, shout out to the music, no pause to my dog. First I thought she was in the chair, but then she ran away. Okay, Mocha, I had to hit the 808s. And I do this and I spit it with flair. Mocha, she's got the shiniest hair. She's looking out the window when I pop it low simple. Like a little pimple, you know I got to hit the cymbals. The hi-hat, I got the nice raps. Like the kick drum, you better listen to how I spit, son. Yeah, and I know that I'ma gotcha. I'ma do my dishes so clean up in the washer. Yeah, I gotta do it and it's never just a smidge. I spit the coldest raps that are straight from the fridge.
Hey, damn, I need my sound effects right now, man. Yo, Nate C, killing it off the top, man.
Thanks for a journey.
That was crazy. Smidge and fridge is fucking top tier, man. That's fire. Might have to use that, man. That was great. Thank you so much for sending that in. Such a joy to watch that. Love that you are so clearly improvising and being in the moment, you know? It can be hard in general to remind yourself to stay grounded in the moment when you're improvising and to not get caught up in your head and try to plan things out too much and try to make things too rigid. But it can be even harder to do that when you're recording, you know, and making a video to send in to potentially be on this podcast. That can make it hard to be in the moment. And you were so clearly in the moment. I loved when you thought the dog was in the chair and then you did a setup punchline for your dog, but when you pointed the camera at the chair, the dog was no longer there. And you started riffing on that and explaining that through the freestyle. That's so beautiful. That's something that I do as well. And it's one of the great things about freestyling and improvising is the fact that there's really no such thing as a mistake. Because if there is what might be considered a mistake in normal contexts, you are able to just then rap about what happened right there, that the dog moved. And then you're able to, you have enough skill already to be able to make that rhyme and make that work and make that fit in the pocket. So I'm able to follow that storyline with you. I just thought that was great. I also really liked how at one point, you ended up kind of just free flowing into mentioning an 808. And to me, and again, I can't actually ask you, but it sounded to me like that was just what happened to rhyme in the moment. It just happened to rhyme with 808. So you just went there, which I call that free flowing, where it's not so mapped out as set up punchline where you're like, okay, this is the target word. Let me build into it. It's just, you're just kind of rhyming and you land on 808 and then you're able to use 808 as the launching off point for this whole scheme about beats in general, where you're talking about the kicks and the snares and the hi-hats. And it's all coming together really nice, man, with lots of rhyming options fitting in for all of those components. So that took us on like a little side quest where now we're just scheming about beats. To my ear, that just happened completely coincidentally by happenstance because 808 happened to rhyme with whatever you had said previously. I love that. It's kind of like you're exploring different modalities within freestyle. You know, you obviously have this setup punchline concept down where you can say smidge to lead you to cold rhymes out the fridge. You understand that piece. You understand the situational awareness and drawing things in from your environment, but you also have this other modality where you can just sort of scheme on a random word and create a universe around that word within your own mind, not based on things that you're seeing visually. And I think to toggle back and forth between the two of those modalities, I hope I'm making it clear. The one modality is rhyming about things you can see, things that are right in front of you. And the other modality is just scheming and free associating based on a random word that made its way into your freestyle by happenstance. With the 808, the kick, the snare, the hi-hat, so on and so forth. Toggling between those two modalities is really powerful because one, it allows you to never get stuck. And two, it just keeps your freestyle, surprising. It's creating those opportunities for you to surprise your audience and maybe even surprise yourself, like we were talking about before. So I thought that was really dope, man. In terms of feedback for my boy Nate C, I think maybe just you could think a little bit about your delivery. You had a solid like rhythmic pocket and stuff like that. Everything was connecting, but you could put a little bit more oomph into it. I would love to hear you kicking it a little louder, with a little bit more intensity. Put a little bit more intention into the words that you're saying. Like, that you're about to end with those cold rhymes coming out the fridge. Like, send that home a little bit. I'm big on using the voice, the full range of the human voice, that you have available to you. You have this unique voice. No one else in the world has it. You might as well utilize it in full and use it as, I mean, that's the best tool you have to really send those bars through the screen to the viewers at home, or, through the speaker to our ears. And it's just a great tool that you have at your disposal. So I would just explore a little bit more with the delivery, putting some more oomph behind it. You could also explore creating different types of like melodic shapes. And I know we're not singing or anything. That would be cool too, incorporating melody, but that may or may not be something that you're interested in doing. But we all create melodic shapes in our freestyles, even though they're not quantized to the actual notes of, the 12-tone Western scale. But we create melodies when we start to go high, and then we bring it down low. And I'm back all up in it when I rap for the cynics, and my raps are infinite, never timid. I know we back up on with the song, right? Those aren't notes, but there's this melodic shape that's happening, and varying the melodic shape a little more could be cool to hear from you, man. So that's what I got for Nate C.
I just love that. Taking a stroll through the house.
Yeah.
It's always so easy to put up those barriers. Like, all right, I'm going to do this. Maybe I should like head outside and like, let me go back in the backyard, actually.
Right.
And that video never happened,
Right.
Get up, get the video out, and put it out. We have to tell ourselves that all the time.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, it was a dope concept, too. That's a good point. Like,
yeah,
this is the first time I, to my memory, have seen it done this exact way, where we're not even really seeing you. We're just, it's like freestyler's point of view.
Yeah. Made that dog part pretty funny, actually. It's like we're realizing it at the same time as him.
Yeah. No, exactly. I was like, where's the dog? And then it was explained to me that the dog was in the chair, but then moved. So, and I think your dog's name is Mocha, if I heard that right.
Yeah,
so,
I think so.
Much love to Mocha. Much love to Nate C. Thank you so much for sending that in, man. Just a joy to hear you do your thing. Keep on grinding, man. Keep on putting the work in, and we'll be checking for you here on Flow State. And wow,
Flowtel episode.
Yeah, Flowtel, killing, bro.
Oh, we pulled it off, man.
We're here. I think everything's still recording. Yeah, this is dope, man.
This is dope.
And we wanted to experiment with this too, because I'm on the road a lot. Like I mentioned, we're gonna be in Europe in just this summer. So being able to keep this content coming out to y'all to the best of our ability, even when we're traveling. Now, it might not always happen. I don't want to overpromise here. Sometimes when we're traveling, all we can hope to do is make it to the gigs alive. But
right.
But when we do have the luxury of time or some days off, it's just awesome to know that we can pop up and do this thing anywhere, man. And, especially after, having to move out of the previous studio, which was beautiful. And I loved that studio. And we'll get back to something like that soon. But it is kind of nice to be mobile to a degree.
It feels like the right approach.
Absolutely.
Let's keep it popping, man.
Hopefully you all enjoyed it as well. You know what we're going to do, man. We're going to send this thing home the way we do best. Should we run this thing?
Let's get it, man.
All right, y'all.
Hopefully my hotel neighbors aren't home right now.
Man, I hope they are home. We're about to bless them. Let's go. Thank y'all so much. Here we go. Oh, shit. Let me bring that back. Whoop, whoop. Back to the top. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. On stage, I'll be rocking the show as well. We bringing it to you from the Flowtel. Checked into the Flowtel room. When I rhyme off the top, I make the speakers go boom. I hope the neighbors are home, cause when I kick these flavors that are unknown, I'ma have your neighbors in the zone. They gon' be nodding their head like, who's that? No chance in hell they saying this dude's whack. In fact, they might put their ears right to the wall so they can hear the freestyles evolve. It might start slow, but then I'll elevate cause I'm a pro. So each and every day I'm about to show up. Regardless of inspiration, I'll be up in the lab. Perfected my lyrical gift, the gab. R.I.P. to the legend from the group Black Alicious. When I rhyme right off the top, they know the raps are vicious. The Mack beat following his intuition. When I'm rhyming off the mental, I'ma make you listen. Yeah, they be tweaking each and every time I'm speaking. Yeah, had a blast at All-Star Weekend for the NBA. I relate to those letters in a way. NBA, I never been afraid. I'ma let the next bar amaze. Mack respelling all the acronyms every time I rap for them. Doing it better, we getting this MC page, spitting in a sweet way. Standing next to D-Wade, yeah, and I'm helping people focus, beasting like D-Wade back there in 06, in the finals putting up them points to turn it around. Y'all know the mic, I'm burning it down to the ground when I be spitting it off the top of the brain, right next
next to ludicrous. I know that I was lobbing them flames, going crazy, bringing y'all the realness. Put it in your nervous system, that will make you feel this. Next to Kelly Rowland, I was rolling, flow controlling, heavy weighted boulders, microphone holder, making it smolder, making it burn. Hey, I be on the road of life, making them turns. Never concerned, even when I start to get a bit nervous. I just know that means I'm focused and I'm living my purpose. So when I walk through the tunnel, I don't feel disgruntled. I take a breath. I take in the air till I feel that there's none left. Then I let it leave and I digest. The moment when I enter the stadium, it's the freestyle alien. I'm hearing the roar of the audience that's so loud. I'ma do you so proud. If you didn't know prior, then you know now. Can't believe it, I blow their minds with the rap flow. In front of 2 Chainz, in front of Fat Joe. Y'all know that we be cutting through the drama. It might have even happened in front of the Obamas. Hard to say, can't confirm it, but this microphone, I'ma burn it. The rap professor got the people learning. I'm turning, I'm back to the days. Back when we used to be kids who would play. Shouts to all the kids on the playground. Shouts to all the kids who stayed down. We be playing each time we make sounds. Yeah, I get to play with drums and I get to play with words. And I'm grateful that play is the verb. Can we get together and play? Can we get together and have fun and do it for days? Can we remember every time we spit these styles to stay in tune with our own inner child? Yeah, it's nothing quaint when I start spitting, got you fainting. When I'm rhyming, dog, I'm finger painting. Ain't nobody in the game that could test me. Finger painting when rapping, y'all know we getting messy. What? Hold up, yeah. Second beat, come on, yeah. Second beat, come on, yeah. Yeah, I said y'all know we getting messy, yeah, and we continue on this road, recording at the abode, or recording on the hotel, either way, I keep rhyming long as they don't take the beat away. Mack coming with the phrase over boom bap, never faking, I stay creating them true raps. Get your hands up to the ceiling, Europe this summer, we officially gonna be in the building. Tell me how you feeling, y'all know how we move, each and every day I'm locking right into the groove. I can't wait to get back out there on the stage. With my audience, I stay ready to engage. Put the mic up in the blaze. Sometimes I'm amazed. When I start to rock, I surprise myself and shock myself with my own thoughts. When building out the narrative, used to be scared of this. Will I be an embarrassment? Now I let them give me the character, give me the environment, give me the dilemma, and I try to win. And I don't know how it happens, but it usually does. And when I'm finished, they get loud and show love. Incredible when I be pushing myself to my limit. I hope my creativity remains infinite. How am I able to leap off the cliff? How am I able to let my thoughts exist in a realm that is undefined and just hope I can be a channel for all of these rhymes? Well, the way I get there, trust me, dog, you can't act this. The fact is, I gotta put in hours of practice, building up the technique, that's the foundation. So hopefully my flow can sound amazing. I don't control that, all I do is show up, cause if I can't express this electric rhythm, I'll blow up. Yeah, I'm using this as part of my holistic health plan, cause you know it's never simplistic. If nobody ever heard a song that I spit, I would still be practicing daily. I can't quit, makes me feel like I'm about to throw a tantrum if I can't run over instrumentals while spitting these anthems. Got them saying, damn son, how's he keep on bringing this? How's he keep on spitting the unwritten, keep on flinging this fire at the microphone, I'm burning it up. Yeah, stacking paper, y'all, we earning too much. Out there on tour in Europe, rocking them festivals. Flow good for your health like plates of vegetables. Bring the freshest flow, how it has to be. Training in the dojo, gaining the mastery. Yeah, and y'all know that I be spitting these flows. Hobbyists, what's the difference for pros? Take it from Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art. Yeah, read the book, then I explore my heart. Do I have the capacity to show up daily? Even when the voices saying, Mack, this is crazy. Even when there's no inspiration and no muse. Will I choose to win or will I choose to lose? Will I choose to be in the environment needed so the task could possibly be completed? Do I have the bravery to mess up majorly? Can I take risks knowing nobody's saving me? And if I can't, am I truly an artist? See, showing up daily, that's the part that's the hardest. It don't matter if your first 100 songs are whack, cause you made 100 songs, homie, that is a fact. You can own that, you can take that with you to the grave. And on that 101st song, you might just amaze and surprise yourself with the lyrics that's dealt. Man, I put it out with soul and I hope it is felt. And y'all know at the top, we about to dwell soon, even when we doing podcasts in the hotel room. What? Flow State, baby. We love y'all. Peace, 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 peace.